So I first met Anjali about 6 years ago now. I'd heard a lot about the company and a lot of great things about the company. I know, and I've worked with a lot of the artists that Anjali had worked with in the past. So I was really excited when I got approached by the company to come and first of all meet them, and then second of all just to have a couple of days in the studio playing around with ideas, having fun, getting to know them, just to see if the chemistry worked. They instantly understood my work. I instantly understood their talent and their passion for movement, and we just started this really, I believe, special relationship and special bond, and that's continued over the 6 years. We started off in the very, very embryonic stages of the process, just looking at this idea of genius and what the word genius means. And straight away I was just drawn to this idea of Ludwig van Beethoven, one of the masters of music, and the fact that he became deaf and I just thought that was such a coincidence, how a composer had this amazing impediment on his hearing and yet he still composed. So for me that was genius. So we started to look at Beethoven's life, and we started to unravel some of the episodes that had happened in his life and what his life looks like. The company is full of really expressive performers who can tell stories through their body, their face, and also their emotions. So I felt it was a really good fit for them. And they responded really well to his music. His music is really powerful, really emotive and full of emotion. And I just, putting those two together was just the perfect combination. I can confidently say that I love working with the company. They are an inspiring, amazing, intelligent, mature group of performers who are able to deliver work with such rigour and clarity and emotion. They're completely inspiring for me. I love coming to work with the company. I enjoy my time here. I feel like I can completely relax in their presence. I believe they feel like that with me too. And we have a dialogue. I don't come in as a director and direct them or dictate to them what I want. It's very much a shared language, it's a shared vocabulary. We have to make sure that the work comes from them, that they drive the work. I'm merely the composer of the piece. I guess for me, there's something that I wanted to really put at the forefront of this project, was to not pity this idea that they have learning disabilities. I think more often than not we get situations where people feel so aware of the situation that can kind of change the temperature in the room somehow, or it can change the attachment to what people are doing. And there's almost too much consideration. And then I think that can really hinder a development and a progress. Whereas when I started to work with Anjali, I thought, well, I'm not going to change how I approach the room, I just need to be sensitive to the situation. What happens if I present the company with a work like I would do with any group? And to try and not pander to this idea of disability, but to try and challenge that and see how far that can be pushed, both physically, emotionally and mentally in the work. So I wanted the work to be full of movement, technical movement and storytelling, and that I would only ever start to shift and change that if I felt it was needed. But we've managed to create a half-hour piece of technical, solid dance work that is done with rigour, and they're performing it at such a high level, and I think it's such a testament to them and to the process that if we get rid of preconceptions and labels, or this idea that we have got to create some sort of a barrier or too much of a difference between us as a humanity, sometimes I think that's a real problem. So, I think there's a lot more room for this kind of work, and I think Anjali should be celebrated and should be put into a spotlight as a good example of what a professional company with learning disabilities can achieve. I think for me, one of the best times was on the very first day that I met the company. And I remember putting on this really loud music, really energetic music, and just as an experiment to see how they would respond, I remember saying to them, just do whatever you want. And within a matter of minutes, the room was just so electric. and so alive and full of potential that I knew from that moment that we were going to have a good journey together. And I think for me that will always stick as my best moment.